Hello, I am Dr. Sonali and I welcome you all to CSC Core Concepts in the series of Foundations of Compiler Construction. In this video, we are going to discuss the next phase, or you can say precisely the fourth phase of the compiler design, that is the intermediate code generation. Now, before getting into how to generate the intermediate code, let us try to understand why do we need to generate the intermediate code. Now, we have come through a various number of phases before this. So let us assume that we have written a program in a higher programming language. Maybe your C, C++, or you can say Java. Okay, any language you have written. Now you are executing that program in some processor P1. Okay, one computer you are executing. Now what will it do? You have written it in high level language, so obviously it will perform all the phases which we have come through. That is, it will first scan each and every line of code using lexical analysis. Then it will check the syntax and semantics. Okay. Now when it is done, right, you have executed the code. It's working fine. Now let us assume that the same program you want to run in a different processor. Okay, other computer. Now, what will you have to do here is that, again, for executing the program in this processor, you again have to perform these three phases. And as we have come across these three phases, one thing you might have realized is that these three phases do take more time. Okay, when you are scanning the program, you are performing, you are creating the parse tree, you are checking syntax, semantics. So it takes a lot of process, right? A lot of time. So obviously again the same process will have to be repeated when you are performing the execution in processor P2. So instead of that, if after these three phases, okay, if you convert your program into an intermediate code representation, this will mean that already these three phases have been finished, okay, and thereafter when you execute using any other processor, what it will get is only the intermediate code. If an intermediate code for a program is already generated, it will automatically understand that these phases are covered. So it does not need to repeat these phases again, and it can start executing from the intermediate code itself. So the beauty of generating the intermediate code is that the compiler will not have to repeat the previous phases such as lexical analysis, parsing, semantics. See, don't get students often get confused intermediate code with the machine language. No, this is not a machine language or an assembly language. It is a lower version of the machine language, but it is simpler than the high level program. So intermediate code comes between the high level program in language, intermediate code, and then you have machine code. Okay, so it is not a machine code, but it will help you to generate the machine code without performing the previous activities. Now this is what makes your program a machine independent. Understood? So we say Java is a machine independent language. How does it? Because when it compiles, okay, during that it generates a Java bytecode, and whenever you want to execute that piece of code in any other device, you can simply install that bytecode and it will work fine. Understood? So this is the beauty. So translation, so let us see what it performs. So intermediate code will first take the high level code like your C, Java, and it will convert into an intermediate form which is very easy to analyze and manipulate. This increases the portability of the code. Portability means that you can run it on different machines without needing any major changes, and hence it makes more versatile, and therefore the optimization increases. That is, compiler can optimize this intermediate code to make the final program run much faster or using less memory. So what are the different methods of generating the intermediate code? Let's see. The first method is the abstract syntax tree method. Second is using a direct acyclic graph, which is also called as DAG. The third approach is the postfix notation, which we have already learnt in data structures. and this is the 3 address code, and 3 address code is the most used among all these approaches. So we will learn about 3 address code in detail in my next video. Okay, and we will see lot of example how one program is converted into the 3 address code. And here we will just have a brief idea about the abstract syntax tree and the direct acyclic graph. So let us understand the abstract syntax tree. So it is a tree, obviously the name suggests, but it is not a parse tree. Okay, what we have done in the syntax analysis, this is a smaller version of the parse tree because it omits the unnecessary punctuation. All these are being omitted. So hierarchical tree, see, in a parse tree when you generate, suppose if you are writing integer a is equals to 2 and you have a semicolon, so the whole string will be parsed, understood? So everything is included. But when you are creating the abstract syntax tree, there these punctuations and all these things are not necessary because it is already been done, checked, right? So hierarchical tree structure representation, and it is used by compilers, interpreters to understand the code. So let us see one string 2 multiplied by 7 plus 3. Okay. Now the parse tree version of this tree will be what? You have an expression, then you have a term, okay, 2 terms, then the number multiplied this, and for each factor, see, we will frame the grammar, and from the grammar we are going to create the parse tree and all, okay, the regular notation. But if it is an abstract syntax tree, simply you can replace it. So you can say this abstract syntax tree is a smaller version of the parse tree. Now DAG is something like the tree only, but it is the graph version of the tree. So what are the beauties of the graph as compared to tree? That in graph you can have loops, you can have cycles, right? And it is a directed acyclic graph, so you can write it. So it is used to visualize, control the basic blocks, visualize the flow. So let's say if you have an equation like this, t is equals to a plus b plus c. So how will you create the graph? A plus b is a, you perform plus, this is t1. Okay, you are breaking it. Then you are, this we are going to see in intermediate code, 3 address code. So this is how you create a graph for the same equation. Understood? So you are breaking, you are making, so you can have loops. Let us say you have loop like b plus c and b plus c. Okay, so you can create a graph like plus B and you can say C. Okay, and this is to be in a loop because 2 times you are doing it. Understood? So the beauty of the graph is there in the directed acyclic graph. And of course, about the postfix notation, you for the postfix understanding, you can go to my data structures playlist where we have discussed in detail how to get converted into a postfix expression. So in this video, we will stop here, and in the next video, we will see the 3 address code for method of generating the intermediate code, and that is the most used method for generating the intermediate code. So don't forget to like, share, subscribe to CSE Core Concepts and stay tuned for more such informative videos. Thank you.